he knew a mystery when he saw it and he couldn't explain it. We should be open-minded enough to consider the possibility that some of the answers may sit outside of our current perspective.
What do conventional archaeologists say when they're confronted by all of this data?
Ever wondered what went on inside those magnificent pyramids of ancient Egypt? Well, buckle up because we're about to delve into the fascinating world of the ancient pyramid texts. These inscriptions carved onto the pyramid walls around 2400 to 2300 BCE are like a window into the hearts and minds of the people who built these incredible structures. These texts weren't just random scribbles, they were meticulously crafted during a pivotal period in Egyptian history, the twilight of the Old Kingdom. This era is famous for the iconic pyramids, those towering tombs for pharaohs. The pyramids themselves are a testament to the Egyptians' architectural genius and their deep understanding of math and engineering. But the pyramid texts are more than just historical footnotes. They're the earliest known religious writings from Egypt, offering a glimpse into the beliefs and practices of this ancient civilization. They're like cultural snapshots showing how art, architecture, and religion were all woven together. The pyramids themselves were seen as the ultimate expression of both religious devotion and the pharaoh's supreme power. Speaking of power, the pharaohs of the Old Kingdom weren't just seen as leaders, they were considered living gods. This concept of divine kingship was the glue that held society together, justifying the pharaoh's absolute authority. The pyramid texts are all about this. They're basically spells and instructions meant to help the pharaoh navigate the afterlife and join the gods, further solidifying the idea of their godlike status. Imagine a society where the pharaoh is at the top of the pyramid, wielding immense power. That's exactly what the Old Kingdom was like. This centralized system allowed them to mobilize the massive resources and manpower needed to build the pyramids. It also meant the government had a tight grip on things, controlling people and resources to a great extent. But running a complex society like this wasn't a walk in the park. It required a well-oiled bureaucratic machine, and that's what the Egyptians had. This network of officials kept things running smoothly, organizing labor, managing resources, and handling the countless details of daily life. It was a sophisticated system for a sophisticated society. We've talked about the cultural significance of the pyramid texts and the social structure of the Old Kingdom, but how did they manage to pull off such massive building projects? Building a pyramid wasn't like putting together a piece of IKEA furniture. It required serious resources and manpower. Imagine this: hauling giant blocks of stone, transporting them for miles, and feeding a whole army of workers for years on end. That's what the Egyptians had to do to build the pyramids. It was a massive undertaking, requiring a well-oiled economic engine. Here's where things get interesting. Contrary to popular belief, the pyramids weren't built by slaves, but by a paid workforce. These workers were likely skilled laborers, artisans, and even seasonal workers, and they were treated pretty well. We found evidence of medical care, food, and even some form of compensation. So how could they afford all this? The answer lies in a concept called economic surplus. Basically, they had enough resources left over after taking care of basic needs like food and shelter to invest in these grand projects. This surplus came from their mastery of agriculture thanks to the Nile River's annual floods. These floods enriched the land and allowed them to grow more food than they needed to survive, freeing up people to work on other things like, you guessed it, building pyramids. But the pyramids are more than just piles of stone, they're symbols too. Many believe they represent the rays of the sun, a pathway for the pharaoh's soul to reach the heavens. This symbolism is deeply connected to the pyramid texts, which are filled with references to the sun god Ra. It all goes back to the Egyptians' belief system, where religion, royalty, and the universe were all interconnected. Speaking of connections, the pyramid texts are like the great-grandparents of later Egyptian religious texts. They paved the way for things like the Coffin Texts and the Book of the Dead. These later texts show how Egyptian beliefs evolved over time, adapting and becoming more accessible to people beyond just the pharaohs. So we've explored the economic engine behind the pyramids and the deeper meaning they hold. But let's not forget the pyramids themselves. They weren't just giant piles of stone. They were meticulously designed and built with a specific purpose in mind. Imagine these pyramids as giant tombs, built to house the bodies and possessions of pharaohs after they passed away. But they weren't just storage units. They were designed to help the pharaoh's soul on its journey to the afterlife, and that's where the pyramid texts come in. These inscriptions were like a guidebook for the pharaoh's soul, offering spells and protection every step of the way. The most famous pyramid containing these texts belongs to Unas, the last ruler of the 5th dynasty. His pyramid, located in Saqqara, was the first to include these inscriptions, paving the way for future pharaohs to follow suit. Think of it like a new trend. Once Unas did it, other pharaohs like Teti, Pepi I, and even Pepi II decided they wanted pyramid texts too. These texts weren't just scribbled on any old piece of papyrus. They were painstakingly carved into the very walls of the pyramids by skilled artisans. Imagine the dedication and precision it took to etch those intricate hieroglyphs into stone. This not only shows the skill of the craftsman, but also highlights the importance of the texts themselves. They were considered so sacred and valuable that they deserved a permanent and prominent place within the pyramids. Speaking of sacredness, these texts were like the holy scripts of their time. They contained spells, prayers, and hymns, all designed to ensure the pharaoh's safe passage to the afterlife and even his transformation into a god. The fact that they were placed inside the pyramids, which were themselves seen as sacred spaces, further emphasizes their importance. But here's the interesting part. Initially, these texts were an exclusive club. Only the pharaohs got to enjoy their benefits, further solidifying their divine status in society. It kind of reflects the hierarchical structure of the time, where access to certain religious practices and texts was restricted to the privileged few. However, things eventually changed. Over time, the concepts and spells found in the pyramid texts started to trickle down to the broader Egyptian population. This led to the development of the Coffin Texts, and later the famous Book of the Dead. These later texts mark a turning point, making spells and rituals for the afterlife more accessible, not just for the pharaohs but for regular people too. So the pyramid texts, originally exclusive to the pharaohs, became the seed for a more democratic approach to the afterlife in ancient Egypt. Now, imagine unearthing a piece of history that rewrites what we know about writing. That's exactly what happened in the 1920s when the Kish tablet was discovered in the ancient city of Kish, Mesopotamia. This wasn't just any clay tablet. It was a game changer, offering a glimpse into the very origins of writing and the fascinating society that developed it. Kish was no ordinary town. Located along the Euphrates River, it was a bustling hub of trade, politics, and culture, attracting people from far and wide. This melting pot of cultures likely played a key role in the birth of writing, as different people brought their own symbols and ways of record-keeping, eventually leading to the development of proto-cuneiform script. The discovery of the Kish tablet itself is a story of collaboration. Archaeologists from the Field Museum of Natural History, led by Stephen Langdon, joined forces with other experts to uncover the secrets of Kish. Back then, excavation techniques were evolving, becoming more systematic and meticulous, which was crucial for carefully preserving and documenting this historic find. But what's so special about this tablet? Well, the writing system on it is like a Rosetta Stone of the ancient world. It's one of the earliest examples of written communication, showcasing the transition from picture-based symbols to the complex wedge-shaped script known as cuneiform. This shift reflects the growing complexity of Sumerian society, as people needed new ways to keep track of things. The creation and use of the Kish tablet also hint at a well-organized society. Imagine a city-state managing resources, governing its people, and even engaging in trade with other regions. Writing wasn't just about leaving messages, it was essential for recording transactions, laws, and important decisions. But the impact of writing goes beyond practicalities. It opened doors for cultural expression and the preservation of knowledge. With writing, the Sumerians could record their myths, laws, and historical events, ensuring they weren't lost to time. This paved the way for the rich literary traditions that flourished in the ancient Near East. The Kish tablet is a reminder that writing wasn't just a random invention. It was a necessity for keeping complex societies running smoothly. It also opened doors for cultural exchange and the preservation of knowledge across generations. This discovery continues to spark debates among scholars, with some questioning whether writing originated independently in Mesopotamia or was influenced by other cultures. The mystery surrounding the exact function and content of the tablet adds to its allure, making it a captivating piece of history that continues to captivate archaeologists and historians alike. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls is one of the most significant archaeological finds of the 20th century, fundamentally altering our understanding of history, the development of the Hebrew Bible, and the beginnings of Christianity. These ancient manuscripts, found in a series of caves near the Dead Sea at Qumran, offer a rare and invaluable window into the religious, cultural, and historical milieu of the Second Temple period, roughly from 516 BCE to 70 CE. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd named Muhammad Ejdib made an accidental discovery that would forever change the world's understanding of Jewish history, the development of the Hebrew Bible, and the early stages of Christianity. While searching for a stray sheep near the Dead Sea, he stumbled upon a series of ancient scrolls hidden in jars within a cave. This initial discovery at Qumran sparked a wave of archaeological interest, leading to the uncovering of scrolls and fragments from 11 caves in total, dating from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE. The Dead Sea Scrolls encompass an astonishing variety of religious writings. These include not just biblical manuscripts, but also apocryphal and pseudepigraphal works, sectarian manuscripts detailing the life and beliefs of the Qumran community, and other texts of both religious and secular nature. Among these, the complete or partial texts of every book of the Hebrew Bible, except for the Book of Esther, stand out for their age and value. These texts predate the next oldest Hebrew manuscripts by roughly 1,000 years, offering unprecedented insights into the textual history and evolution of the Hebrew Bible. The significance of these ancient manuscripts extends beyond their age and rarity. They have illuminated the process of canonization and the transmission of biblical texts, revealing variations and evolution over time. Furthermore, the non-biblical texts among the scrolls provide a rare glimpse into the beliefs, practices, and daily life of what many scholars believe to be the Essenes, a Jewish sect living in a monastic community at Qumran. Descriptions of this community, with its strict rules, communal living, and emphasis on ritual purity, align with historical accounts by ancient historians like Josephus and Pliny the Elder, supporting the theory of the Essene connection. Interesting facts surrounding the Dead Sea Scrolls include their status as a potential library of the Qumran community, reflecting the diverse range of Jewish thought during the Second Temple period. The preservation techniques aided by the dry climate of the Dead Sea region and the method of storing scrolls in jars have allowed these texts to survive for over 2 millennia. Moreover, advances in technology have led to the digitalization of the scrolls, making them accessible to a global audience and facilitating their study and preservation. When comparing the Dead Sea Scrolls to other significant ancient religious texts, such as the Nag Hammadi library, the contrast in their contributions to our understanding of ancient religious thought becomes apparent. While the Nag Hammadi texts illuminate early Christian Gnosticism and include a variety of Gospels and spiritual writings not found in the canonical Bible, the Dead Sea Scrolls primarily shed light on the Jewish context of the Second Temple period. Together, these discoveries highlight the rich diversity and textual complexity of religious thought in the ancient Near East, offering scholars and lay people alike a deeper understanding of the origins and development of these two major world religions. In 1945, near the Upper Egyptian town of Nag Hammadi, an astonishing discovery was made that would profoundly impact our understanding of early Christianity. A local farmer, Muhammad Ali al-Saman, was searching for fertilizer in the soil when he stumbled upon a sealed earthenware jar. Initially hesitant, fearing it might contain a jinn, his curiosity prevailed, leading him to uncover a collection of leather-bound papyrus codices. This find, now known as the Nag Hammadi Library, contained 13 ancient books with over 50 texts, including Gospels such as Thomas and Philip, Acts, letters, and theological treatises that were not included in the canonical New Testament. The discovery of the Nag Hammadi library was groundbreaking for several reasons. For starters, the text provided a panoramic view of Gnosticism, an early Christian movement that emphasized direct knowledge of the divine as the path to salvation. Before this discovery, our understanding of Gnosticism was primarily based on the accounts of its opponents. The Nag Hammadi texts, however, offered a first-hand look at the rich diversity of thought within early Christianity, challenging the notion of a unified set of beliefs and practices among its adherents. These manuscripts were remarkably well preserved, likely due to the dry, sealed jar in which they were stored for centuries. Written in Coptic, the latest stage of the Egyptian language, they represented translations from earlier Greek writings. The translation of these texts into modern languages has revolutionized the study of early Christian history, making them accessible to both scholars and laypeople. The Nag Hammadi texts delve into spiritual and philosophical themes not prominently featured in the canonical Bible, offering a more mystical and metaphysical view of Jesus and his teachings. They discuss the origin of evil, the nature of God, and the soul's journey, providing a unique lens through which to view early Christian theology. One particularly intriguing aspect of the Nag Hammadi library is its portrayal of Mary Magdalene. In texts like the Gospel of Philip, Mary is depicted as a close companion of Jesus, sparking debates about her role in early Christian communities and challenging traditional views on the status of women in the early church. This portrayal contrasts with her more limited role in the canonical Gospels and has fueled discussions on gender and leadership within early Christianity. When we compare the Nag Hammadi library with the Dead Sea Scrolls, we see two vastly different snapshots of religious thought in the ancient world. Together, these discoveries have dramatically expanded our understanding of ancient religious thought, highlighting the complex and diverse beliefs that existed during their respective periods and illustrating the evolving religious landscape from Judaism to Christianity. In the mid-19th century, an extraordinary discovery was made at St. Catherine's Monastery on the Sinai Peninsula, which would leave an indelible mark on biblical scholarship and the history of Christianity. Konstantin von Tischendorf, a German biblical scholar, during his visit to the monastery, found several leaves of an ancient manuscript in a basket of old parchments that were about to be destroyed. This manuscript, known as the Codex Sinaiticus, dates back to the 4th century AD and is one of the oldest and most complete versions of the Christian Bible written in Greek. The Codex Sinaiticus is truly remarkable for several reasons. It encompasses the complete New Testament, a significant portion of the Old Testament, the Septuagint, a Greek translation of Hebrew scriptures, and the Apocrypha. This makes it one of the few manuscripts offering such a comprehensive view of early Christian biblical literature. Moreover, it contains texts like the Epistle of Barnabas and the Shepherd of Hermas, which are absent from the canonical Bible of most Christian traditions today. The significance of the Codex Sinaiticus extends well beyond its contents. It serves as a crucial resource for the field of textual criticism, enabling scholars to compare its texts with those of other ancient manuscripts to deduce the most likely original texts of the Christian Bible. This insight into the diversity of beliefs and practices within early Christian communities is invaluable, providing a clearer picture of the early church's efforts to standardize Christian texts. There are some fascinating facts about the production and preservation of the Codex Sinaiticus. It was likely produced in one of the major Christian centers, possibly Alexandria, and is an example of the early Christian codex format which predates the modern book format. Today, the manuscript is preserved and digitized, with portions held in 4 separate locations: the British Library in London, the University Library in Leipzig, the National Library of Russia in St. Petersburg, and St. Catherine's Monastery itself. This digitization effort has made it accessible to a global audience, ensuring its preservation and continued study. An interesting theory about the Codex Sinaiticus involves Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. In 331 AD, Constantine commissioned Eusebius of Caesarea to produce 50 copies of the scriptures for the churches of Constantinople. Some scholars speculate that the Codex Sinaiticus might have been one of these copies, given its early date and the high quality of its production. While there's no direct evidence to confirm this theory, it adds an intriguing layer to the Codex's history. When compared to the Codex Vaticanus, another significant ancient biblical manuscript from the 4th century, the Codex Sinaiticus offers a unique contribution to our understanding of the Christian biblical canon. Although the Codex Vaticanus is slightly older and presents some textual variations, the Codex Sinaiticus is more complete and includes books not found in the Vaticanus. Together, these manuscripts are among the most important for understanding the development and transmission of the Christian biblical canon, providing crucial insights into the text of the Christian Bible during this formative period.